Hello, hello. This live stream is starting up. I'm just checking to make sure that it's actually starting up. Give me a moment, please. Make sure that it's actually starting up. Welcome to the Plant Your Seeds of Transformation podcast. I'm a little early. I know because I have to leave a little bit earlier. I have some errands to do because it's about 84 degrees and climbing here in my home office. And I need to find a way to deal with this until people that I had very high expectations of let me down this week with getting the air conditioner fixed. So that's our topic today, talking about what do high expectations get you. This is again along the lines with the topic of perfectionism and why it's not good for you. This is the same topic we've been talking about since the beginning. And again, we're talking about a different aspect of it. We want to make sure that we really understand. And when I say we, I mean me. I want to make sure that I really understand. And hopefully, this will be helpful for you too. A lot of times in my past, because I was always trained to be a leader, primarily in the academic world, somewhat in the corporate world too. Because I was trained to be a leader, I was not ever accepting anything less than the highest of expectations. I would always set my expectations high. And there are some, let's backtrack a little bit. I've read studies that have proclaimed that having high expectations are important because it does improve outcomes. But that's within a certain context. So let's dig into that. We're not talking about having unrealistic expectations. That's different than having high expectations of someone else, versus setting the low too bar. Excuse me, setting the bar too low. Oh my goodness, my brain is being fried by all this heat. There's a difference between having overly ambitious expectations of yourself based on wrong information and lack of preparation. There's a difference between that and having higher expectations than what the low bar that's been set, for instance, for diverse children in an urban environment, in an urban schooling environment. There's a difference there. We're talking there's two different things going on there. If you're an adult, if you're a Black woman leader, and you're expecting a business that's making no money to all of a sudden make $100,000 a year, but you haven't done any of the preparation that's required for that, that is unrealistic expectation. And setting a bar that high for yourself can be detrimental for you in a lot of different ways. And whether or not you agree with me, I'm not here to debate that, okay? But what I want to say is this. That's different than, for instance, let's say a teacher or a principal of a school goes into a school system that has consistently, historically performed low. And there are studies that have shown that when academic leaders step into a new school to turn it around, the primary thing they do is simply setting the bar higher, having higher expectations of these kids who other people in the past have written off as not able to achieve higher. There's a huge difference there. And I want to make sure that we talk about this because there's some things that have been bothering me. I have a bone to pick, right? I recognize that I have high expectations, even though I am a recovering perfectionist. I still have high expectations, especially when it comes to people that are providing services for me, and especially if they're providing services for my family members. I had an interesting, I'll just be transparent. The nursing home where my husband lives, they have a town hall meeting now. Yeah, they're doing that. Now, this is on the heels of 3 months of being completely incommunicado. And I am not exaggerating. From probably about March, April, May, June, maybe even 4 months, 3.5 or 4 months. I couldn't get through to these people. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. Their phone system was damaged during their remodel. The remodel was great. It's gorgeous. It's wonderful. But if the family members and doctors and other people are trying to get through to you all on your phone system and they can't, and you all are not even knowing that it's a problem or making any amends about it at all for months, there is a problem with that. Now, I'm grateful to see that they're starting these town hall meetings so that the family members of the loved ones that are living there can come and talk about their concerns and ask questions and things like that. It's great. It's a wonderful, it feels great that they're including us in conversations, but having spent 3.5 to 4 months with no communication, I don't know about you, but kind of feels like too little too late. But I recognize one thing about myself. I set the bar very high when it comes to my expectations of service providers. And this may not be good for me to keep doing that. So I'm bringing this to you all because I'm sure I am not the only one that's experienced or has or is still experiencing this, that has experienced it or is still experiencing it. I know I'm not the only caregiver who has been disappointed by the supposed support personnel, quotation marks, support. I know I'm not the only one. I've had conversations with, and I witnessed these conversations during the town hall. So the honest truth is that me setting my expectations so high, not just for myself, but for other people too, it doesn't necessarily help me. This is not a school poorly performing turnaround situation. This is real life for me. So I am learning how to translate my perfectionism recovery to more than just my expectations of myself, but also to my expectations of others. And I'll tell you one thing that's really helped me with this process. And I'm smiling and laughing because I'm just thinking of so many things I could share with you all. I'm not sure how much I'll get in because my house is just getting hotter minute by minute. So I got these big old headphones on my head. It's not making me any cooler. I didn't choose to put a fan nearby because I didn't want the wind noise to interfere with this recording. But I just want to make sure that you all know. And I also need to make sure that my audio is coming through the correct, yeah, it's coming through the correct microphone. So I got a chance to observe the town hall from the perspective of a family member. I don't work there, but I have a background in business. My degree is a business degree, so I have some understanding about management. And so as I'm listening to, I guess, the excuses they're making for different complaints that other family members have had, yeah, I can see some holes in management. But the thing that it makes me laugh the most is that one of the family members, he said that he visits this place daily. Man, that's over an hour away from my home. There's no way I can go daily. But I'm so glad to see that other family members are able to do that. That's fantastic to see that they're plugged in, right? Not just with their family member, but they're paying attention to what's going on in the facility. That makes me feel good. Like, I wish I knew what this guy looked like and what his name was so I could check in with them next time I visit and find out what he thinks about what's going on in the nursing home. But we'll figure that out at a different time. But anyway, back to the town hall meeting and the observations of this family member who says that he visits the nursing home daily. In a nutshell, he said to them, he explained what his background was, which he was a some type of officer or something in the military. And so he had management responsibility. And so he basically explained that because of his background, he could see holes in management that were the root cause of the issues that were being expressed by other family members. So, and I could totally agree with him on exactly what he said. I see the same thing. But what I had decided to do, because I've been a member of caregiver support groups for years now, since my husband first started needing more support from me in that arena. I have witnessed a lot of caregivers just about driving themselves crazy, worried about the lack of support from the support personnel. And I had made a decision early on when my husband first started needing more help that I needed to let go a bit of the control so I don't drive myself nuts, worried about every little detail with these people. And I was so glad I did that because I could see a different family member for a different family. She and her loved one were new to the facility. And oh my goodness, this lady complained about so many things, rightly so. But I could see it was causing her a lot of anxiety. And she was professional and she was very respectful, but she like delineated several things that were just not right. Again, management, bad management being the root cause. And I recognized with her the anxiety that I felt when my loved one first went into the nursing home. And so I am very aware that in this particular instance, because I don't have control, I live over an hour away from this place. I can't be there all the time. And in a situation where their phones weren't working for 3.5 to 4 months, I really had no control. And so I recognized with this lady the anxiety that wanting, striving for that control, feeling entitled to them listening and acting, responding the way that I want them to respond. Yeah, having that high expectation, not helpful in this situation because I have no control over the outcomes there. So in terms of having high expectations of myself, at this point regarding this particular situation, my high expectation is that I will make the effort to at least attend the town halls, at least attend the case management meetings, at least communicate when I need to communicate. Like I have a short list of some things I need to communicate with them about now. After we had our last visit with him, he let me know some, different things he needed. So I have my list and I'm going to follow up on my list. Those are the things that I can set high expectations for myself for that are within my control. But having these high expectations of these managers and these workers that I don't work with or for is totally not helpful. It's not helpful. That would be my normal go-to though. So not doing that is not easy. It's difficult to lower my expectations. It's difficult because I don't want to do that. I feel it's bad to lower your expectations. But in this situation, that's what has to be done to preserve my sanity and keep me from going off on these people, which this lady, even though she was very respectful, the other family member in that meeting, even though she was very respectful of them, she basically went off on them. And I could see, even though she was the way she was talking was very professional, and she was very respectful of them, you could tell it was causing her a lot of stress. I don't have time for stress, especially since Saturday, living in a house with no air conditioner and temperatures that are in the high 80s and low 90s. I cannot let myself be stressed out when, and I've talked about this in previous episodes, and I'm going to go in on this a little bit more. Specifically for Black women leaders who are trauma survivors, you have to manage your stress, or else it can literally kill you. When you are grieving, you have to manage your stress, or it can literally kill you. When you are actively recovering, actively going through therapy, you have to manage your stress, or it can drive you absolutely crazy. And we're not going there. I'm not trying to end up in a hospital for physical help or mental health. I'm doing I'm doing my work day by day. I'm doing the things that are for self-care day by day. So, on that note, another one of the ways I could set high expectations for myself is for my sticking with my daily routines that are part of my self-care journey. Now, I've heard people talk about what self-care isn't. I'm going to talk a little bit about what self-care is and how you can set some high expectations for yourself in that arena and how that can help you. So, part of what self-care is sticking with the routines that are helpful for you, the things that make you feel good that are good for you, the things that make you feel good that are good for you, not the things that make you feel good that are not good for you. You know what I mean? The things that make you feel good that are good for you. Now, I've heard many debates about whether or not coffee is good for you or not, and what kinds of coffee are good for you or not. I'm not here to debate any of that. That's not my place. I'm not a nutritional expert. I'm not an expert on coffee. I am an expert on what I like. So I can set high expectations for myself and be picky about the kinds of coffee. I know what coffee I like. I know what other things I like to mix in with my coffee. I can set high expectations for myself on that. Not allow myself to cheapen the experience by getting something because it's less expensive or somebody else recommended. Getting what I like is important to me. What do you like? You know, what are the things that you've incorporated into your daily routine, rituals, schedule? What do you like? Some people don't drink coffee. I know that. I'm aware of that. Some people just drink water. Some people like tea and water. Some people like a cup of milk or a cup of juice, smoothies, protein shakes. What is it that makes you feel good that you can double down on? What is it that you can make sure you always have in place and set high expectations for yourself in that arena so you can take great care of yourself, so you can love on yourself through these rituals or schedules or routines or practices that you're incorporating into your life? What makes you feel good? Do you like yoga? Do you like to meditate? Do you journal? What are the things that make you feel good that are good for you? Double down on these things. Set high expectations for yourself in these things. For me, as I said earlier, there's a certain kind of coffee I will drink, and I'm not going to cheapen it by getting something that costs less or has lesser quality. I'm going to stick with the thing I know works for me. What about you? For instance, are candles a part of your ritual or your routine? Do you like to put out candles as part of your aromatherapy, or do you like to use what do they call them, diffusers? Don't get the cheap stuff. Get the stuff that makes you feel good, and that's good to you. That's good for you. All right. So I just want to make sure that we continue this conversation about perfectionism. I want to make sure that we continue developing understanding of what perfectionism looks like, why it's not good for you, but also understand what excellence really is. See, perfectionism is a distortion of excellence. It's not real excellence. It masquerades as excellence, but it's not. Excellence, in the context that we're discussing today, is just taking good care of you, routinely doing the things that feel good, that are good for you. Is it working out every day? Is it going to water aerobics classes 2-3 times a week? What is it that you like that are good for you? Okay, so here are some key tips. What have you put in your schedule that feels good to you, that's good for you? What have you put on your actual calendar that's scheduled in? What have you put in your budget that supports you in continuing the routines, the rituals, the schedule that enables you to keep doing the things that feel good to you, that are good for you? These are practical things that are required so you can stay consistent. Set high expectations for yourself in that way. Having a consistency about something small can make a big difference. And it's hard to stay consistent if you don't have it in your schedule, if you don't have the money for it. You know, you may be spending too much money on getting coffee at Starbucks that you could put towards a karate class. Let's say that that's something, or a dance class. Let's say that there's something that you want to do that's going to cost money. And maybe you've looked at the schedule and looked at the cost of it and said, oh, I can't afford that. But did you think that there might be something else you're paying money for that you don't have to pay money for, that could save you enough money to be able to afford that thing? Okay. Set high expectations for yourself in that way. Find a way to make those things that make you feel good and that are good for you top priority in your life. This way, you can protect your emotions, your mental health, and your physical health. As a result, you're protecting your physical health. When you protect your emotions and your mental health, you are protecting yourself. Set high expectations for yourself in that way. And then you're happier. I mean, that's the best outcome. You're happier. One of the goals of this podcast is to help Black women leaders who have survived some type of trauma or crisis to understand themselves better so that they can lead happier lives and have better relationships. That's what I'm doing here, because that's the same journey that I'm on. That's why I'm doing that. And I just wanted to share with you also from the perspective of being a caregiver, it is really, really easy to get off course mentally and emotionally when you're caregiving. It takes work, daily routines, scheduled, budgeted. It takes work to stay healthy mentally and emotionally when you are a person who has survived some type of trauma or crisis. And caregivers, by default, are under that umbrella of surviving trauma and crisis. Becoming a caregiver is traumatic. It changes everything. It changes your finances, it changes your schedule, it changes your social interactions, it changes everything. So, setting high expectations for your self-care, that is an excellent thing to do. It is not perfectionistic. Now, it could get into the arena of perfectionism, of course. We're not going to even talk about that right now. What I'm saying is set high expectations for loving yourself, taking care of yourself, Do that in practical ways using your time and your money so you can do the things that feel good to you and are good for you. Do the things that feel good to you and that are good for you consistently over time. And my gosh, if you just focus just on one thing, making a pivot or a change, for instance, like I said, maybe cut out Starbucks, from every day to once a month, you will see a transformation in how your life um, moves forward when you take that time and that money you used to invest in that other thing, put it into the thing that makes you feel good, that's good for you, be it a dance class, a water aerobics class, a gym membership, whatever it is. It doesn't even have to be that. It could just be buying more books, physical books instead of renting them at the library, borrowing them at the library or getting audiobooks. Maybe you want to buy physical books. Go to the local, in our community, we have a really nice Barnes and Noble. I know bookstores aren't in every community anymore like they used to be, but there are some. Maybe you need to invest some money towards getting some physical books and sitting down and reading some physical books. Whatever it is that feels good to you, that's good for you. Invest your time and money there. Don't just assume, oh, I don't have the time, oh, I don't have the money. Take the time to sit down and really think. What can you do to change, to pivot, to switch things up a little bit so you can have that thing in your life more consistently? All right. So I told y'all I was going to keep this short and I meant it. It's hot. It is only getting hotter, and I've got to go see if I can figure out a solution that will last me until the situation with the air conditioner is fixed, because I rent this house, I don't own this house, and so I've got to let the landlord figure this out because I don't want to pay for this. I don't want to pay to fix it because it's not my house. So in the meantime, I've got to pivot, and this is setting high expectations for myself to be resilient, to pivot when I need to pivot, and to not allow people's incompetence to completely destroy my day or my week. I've been through that all summer long. All summer long. I kid you not, from July through today, I've been dealing with incompetence and uncaring people, incompetent people and uncaring people, and sometimes a combination of both. And honest truth, it ruined my summer. But I've been making a decision to set high expectations for myself, to not keep letting knuckleheads ruin my time. So that's what I'm setting high expectations for myself on. That's what I'm changing today. Is finding ways to pivot, like getting out of this hot tail house and getting my air conditioning car and going to some air conditioning stores. Unfortunately, I guess probably because medications I'm on, my hands and my feet are very swollen. So it is important for me to get my body cooled down better during the hottest part of the day. This has also disrupted my work schedule because, and that's another reason I got to get off of here, my computers can be damaged by all this heat and humidity. And today, the humidity, I don't know what it is, but it's much higher than yesterday. Like you can feel the moisture in the air in the house. So I got to turn off all of my computers to protect them and find a way to get this humidity out of the house without spending an arm and a leg until they fix my AC. So that's my day, just sharing transparently with you all. I hope that this has been helpful. I really wanted to target and focus towards things that I know can help you if you are a person who has survived a trauma or a crisis and you are recovering and figuring things out. I wanted to make sure that I talked to you about setting these high expectations for your own self-care, your own self-love, but not setting your expectations so high for people who could potentially be knuckleheads and ruin your whole day if you have those extremely high expectations. I just want to encourage you because this is where I'm at right now. And I know I'm not the only one. I know there's other people out there dealing with knuckleheads, dealing with knuckleheads, dealing with people that just don't care. They're not going to care like you care. Don't give them your power by setting your expectations so high and then being disappointed. Have your contingency plans in place, your workarounds in place. Like I said, I'm finding my workarounds for dealing with this air conditioner problem. And do whatever you got to do to take care of you. Double down on that. Set high expectations for that. Don't let those knuckleheads take your peace. All right. God bless you. I hope that this was helpful for you. One of these days, we're going to have an audience in here and get this live chat going. I did open it up, I think. So we're going to get this going one day because I'd love to be able to have a dialogue and answer questions and be supportive of you. So if you'd like that, head over to the YouTube live on Tuesdays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. I will be doing these lives for the ongoing, for the foreseen future. These lives are now replacing pre-recorded podcasts. They are live on YouTube, but of course they'll be pre-recorded on all the other podcast places. But for those of you who are coming to us from the future, welcome. For those of you who this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for taking the time to listen or watch. If you are part of our YouTube channel at Plant Your Seeds of Transformation, so that's youtube.com/at Plant Your Seeds of Transformation. If you're part of that audience, please click like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and share. If you know somebody who's been struggling with these types of things and you want to encourage them, please share. Also, if you want to listen or watch this podcast in other places, if you have an Android phone, Google has a podcasting app. We're there. Plant Your Seeds of Transformation is there. If you have an Apple or iOS device of some type, we're on Apple Podcasts. You can find us there, Plant Your Seeds of Transformation. If you are a lover of Spotify or some other podcasting app, we're there. We're on Spotify. We're on Amazon. Amazon now has podcasts available through their music app and also through Audible. We are there. The podcast is on Amazon and Audible. The podcast is on plantyourseeds.show. And all of the places that this podcast is located are listed at plantyourseeds.show. Also, past episodes are at plantyourseeds.show. So if you'd like to go over to plantyourseeds.show, you can check out past episodes and see the guests who have been part of the podcast in the past. So I'd love to make sure that I see you over there. If you'd like to send me private comments, you can do that at plantyourseeds.show. And if you'd like to donate and support the further future development of the podcast, we'd love to receive your donations. That's located at plantyourseeds.show. And finally, for me to support you further, there is a Patreon community, and that's where I have my co-working and my coaching program. If you're interested in any of those, go check out the Patreon. You'll find links for all of these things at plantyourseeds.show. And of course, the show notes here on YouTube will have links for some of these things also. It'll especially have the plantyourseeds.show link, as well as you see that under my face. So I hope that this has been helpful, but I hope that you will support the show if this has been helpful. And I hope that you will share it if you believe that somebody you know will be helped by what I've been talking about here regarding making sure that you don't let knuckleheads ruin your day and ruin your life. Find a way to pivot and take care of you. All right. Y'all have a blessed week. I'm going to go find a way to cool off here. Take care now.